Hey, what's going on? Colten Kahler alongside our new guest, Andrew Buis. AB, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I definitely appreciate it.
So normally Mitch is here, but he is out tonight. Rodney is on his way to New York, so had to bring in AB, and we'll get our AL Central talk in as well. But we'll run through our divisions. We'll look at some team futures, and then we'll play a little contender or pretender at the end. But I want to start in the AL East. I mean, AB, we were just talking about it. Right now, Cardinals are down 4-0 to the Orioles, who somehow are not in last place in the AL East. The Boston Red Sox are just absolutely terrible. Are they playing tonight?
Yes, they are. They are in Atlanta, I do believe.
Yeah, they're playing the Braves right now. They're up 6-3 because Rafael Devers hit a grand slam. Yep. So they are playing right now, but I mean, they are well deep. I mean, they are 10.5 games back already at 10-19, and it's a tough division to play in, but I mean, that's just bad.
Absolutely. I mean, they have the pieces. I know Chris Sale's hurt, but they have the bats. They brought in Trevor Story. I mean, even they got to figure it out quickly. They can't get really much more than 12, 15 games back, or else, I mean, they're going to start selling it at the deadline, which is crazy to say.
It's a shame that Tanner's not here, because if he was, I'd just be able to sit here and let him talk for about half an hour, because I'm sure he could fill up that time talking about how bad they are. But, I mean, man, 10.5 back. And I will say they have played a tough schedule, because if you look at the Yankees, they're 20-8. But if you look at their schedule, they've really played no one besides the Toronto Blue Jays, and they played – there was one other team that was remotely decent. They've played the Blue Jays twice in 2 series. And that's really about it. Cleveland is, Cleveland's kind of on that borderline. They lost a series early they lost their second series to
the Blue Jays, I believe.
They lost their first series to the Blue Jays, and then most recently swept them. But I mean, the Yankees had rattled off about 11 wins there for a bit before they lost to Toronto. But I mean, just a bad schedule the Yankees have had here, early this year. And then it starts to pick it up. They get your White Sox after this current series. That's going to be a big series for your Sox.
It's definitely going to be a lot of fun. Tim Anderson bobblehead night Saturday. Might have to go. He had the walk-off against the Yankees in the Field of Dreams game, and they got that bobblehead specifically for it. So it should be a big night. It should be a lot of people, and it is a 4-game series, so it is going to be very important. Definitely kind of evaluate ourselves right now. Still not fully healthy, but bats are starting to warm up a little bit, even after last night's brutal loss. Up 6 in the 9th. I mean, I can't believe it. That was pathetic. But they had won 6 straight. So it would have been really nice to get that 7th to keep it going. But baseball's baseball. It'll even itself out here, hopefully.
Yeah, so Mitch is, typically when he joins us, he's a Blue Jays fan, so that, they've got a big game tonight. They're 4 back. They've kind of, slid a little bit here as of late. But I expect the Rays and Blue Jays to be in it towards the end of the year. The Yankees might be that 3rd team, but I definitely think that we'll get 3 teams out of the AL East. And, the Yankees will get out. You're looking at 8 teams this year, each side. I would expect probably 1 out of the Central and maybe 1 out of the West.
2. Yeah.
I mean, maybe 2. I think the White Sox will eventually turn that around. They're only 3.5 back, that you can make that up in, about a week and a half, maybe.
Exactly. And the Twins have had the benefit of a, pretty nice schedule so far. They just came off series with the Orioles and the Athletics back-to-back 7 games right there. So definitely does help out a little bit, but, you can't sleep on them. They got some guys.
Right. Sure. And if you guys got anything tuning in, if you got anything in the comment section, throw it in. We'll put it up on the screen. But I want to get to the AL Central. Your White Sox right there. Talked a little bit about the ninth inning collapse last night. That's like 2 6-run leads we've seen blown in the ninth inning in the last, week or so.
Yeah.
But another stat that I saw today is Tim Anderson has more errors himself than the entire Yankees roster.
Yeah, that is, as a leader right there from our shortstop is definitely not the ideal situation. He has been able to somewhat make it back with his bat. When Tim Anderson goes, the team goes. That's basically how it is. That's how it has been. Having him in the leadoff spot, very, very crucial and beneficial to get him going. He really just sets the tone. And if he's not there defensively, then you see the whole team is really not there defensively. They've had 26 errors in 28 games, which is just unacceptable. That's really bad baseball. And somehow we're still 500. The pitching rotation has definitely stepped up quite a bit through the bad defense.
Right. And you look at the schedule here for the White Sox. They had, that 6-game winning streak coming into last night. They believe, looks like they split with the Angels, who've kind of, made some noise out there in the West. The West this year, both divisions or both, leagues is very, very entertaining. But it seems like Cleveland has got Chicago's number. I mean, for whatever reason, they've yet to beat Cleveland. They're playing tonight. I don't know what it is, but you got swept early in Cleveland, and now you lost last night after the late collapse. Is that a team that you kind of dread playing?
Yeah, I honestly think it's going to be they're going to be the team that a lot of teams dread playing. Stephen Kwan, the rookie, he's been exceptional, hitting out of the 2 spot. Jose Ramirez, he's an MVP candidate. He's really good, and he just kills the White Sox. And they've got a solid 3 between Zach Plesac, Shane Bieber. I know they throw in Taylor McKenzie a little bit. Savali's not bad as well. And tonight they're starting Cal Quantrill, he's not bad. He's pitching pretty well, but that earlier start is when Tim Anderson, I think he had 6 errors maybe in 3 or 4 games. I know he had 3 errors in 1 game alone, and that was just unacceptable. But hopefully tonight we can take this one and then get the rubber match for Wednesday and go from there.
Yeah, and you look at the AL West, the Angels, they are a 1-game lead on the Astros, who have kind of turned it around since the start of the season. The Mariners, they're struggling a little bit, 6.5 back. They're 4 games under. Texas and Oakland are, where I expect them to be. I expected a little bit more out of Seattle this year. And again, they've still got time to turn it around. 6.5 is obviously not ideal, but that's something that they can definitely gain ground on throughout the year. And Detroit, I mean, they've really surprised me at how bad they are. 9-21, 9.5 back. They lost, I believe, today. They won yesterday for the first time in forever. They're 2-8 in their last 10. I expected them to be a little bit better this year.
And I definitely did too, especially with, Brandon and Javi Baez, Spencer Torkelson. He's a rookie. He is, he's learning. He's going to be very, very good for them as well. But, Detroit is just going to be Detroit. I mean, it's really tough for them, pitching wise, hitting wise, especially of recent. I'm pretty sure they had not scored. They had a doubleheader today. They played at noon and 4. And they finally scored in the noon game, I believe, in about the 5th inning. And it was their first run in 28 innings, which is absolutely incredible.
I saw that stat and just kind of really, it blew my mind, but I just, wow. I mean, they have been terrible this year. And then, the NL Central, my St. Louis Cardinals, they're down 4-0 right now to the Orioles, as I mentioned earlier. The Orioles are kind of a sneaky, I wouldn't say good team because, they're still 5 games under 500. But I mean, in the month of May, they've really turned it on. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They've got a 2-game winning streak. They're hitting, I think, over 300, close to 350 in the month of May as a team. Here through about the first 2 weeks, and they find ways to win games. They'll sneak one here. They're better than I thought they would be. I knew they'd be improved, but especially for their division, I did not think that they would be kind of where they are. But the Cardinals, they've got to figure it out. They're only 2 games back. The Brewers lost last night, so they could gain ground after the Brewers lost to the Reds. And
oh man, don't even get us started on those guys.
we'll get to that later. But the Cardinals sent down Paul DeJong today. They optioned him to AAA. It's about darn time. You talk about your shortstop, having some errors, but he hits, right? Paul DeJong, doesn't hit. I mean, he's batting 130, and he was like 2 for his last 18. That's not good. That's not going to win you ball games. And his glove, I think people kind of overhype it a little bit. It's not as good as what people truly think it is. He was tied for the team lead in errors. The other guy is Nolan Arenado. So, you kind of can take that with a grain of salt, but it's been far too long. And the patience finally wore out. Hopefully, if he can go down to Memphis, figure it out and come back and help the team, great. But I think the pressure is really on, and the Cardinals called up Kramer Robertson, which is not, I think, what a lot of people were hoping for. They're hoping for the Nolan Gorman thing, but they've got to figure out the whole Tommy Edman issue, which I think the front office, in my opinion, is blowing smoke. They say they're not really comfortable with Tommy Edman playing at short, and Tommy Edman played more shortstop than he did second base in the minor leagues. I mean, all of a sudden he can't play shortstop. I find that hard to figure. They also threw him into the fire after the 2019 season when they practically just let Colton Wong walk away. And they said, hey, Tommy, you're now the starting second baseman. And then also we're going to just throw you into the outfield, from time to time. So they're okay with doing that, but they're not okay with moving him 60 feet. I don't, I truly don't get it. And so that's why, I know that Gorman's got to figure out his strikeout rate. I mean, he's got 38 strikeouts to 8 walks this year. That's not good. That is not good. But he does have 12 home runs. He's hitting over 300. So it's a little bit of give and take. And maybe he's just not quite ready. And if they just came out and said that Nolan Gorman we're not ready for that, I'd accept it. But I think that they continue to just give us BS reasons as to why they're not going to call him up. And we'll see what Kramer Robertson can do. I mean, I'm not expecting a whole lot from the young man, but it gives them flexibility. It gives them a chance to let Edmundo Sosa come back when he comes back from his, rehab, whatnot. But it's frustrating because you're playing a terrible division. The Brewers, who I still cannot understand why people hype up the Brewers. I mean, when it comes down to it, they're not going to win games in the postseason. They can't hit. They can't. They have the best pitching staff, but they can't score runs. It is a little bit better this year for the Brewers, but again, I think when all's said and done, if the Cardinals are there at the end of the season, I think they win the Central. But it's very frustrating right now. But today was, in my opinion, a step in the right direction with sending DeJong to Memphis.
And I was definitely going to mention, how you just said, one of the worst divisions. Do they take the throne for playing in the worst division now? I mean, I know the AL Central is definitely there. The AL Central and the NL Central are, they got
I think without a doubt, it is definitely the NL Central is the worst division in baseball. I mean, no questions asked. I mean, we make fun of the Reds, for being terrible, but they're only like 4.5 games ahead of Cincinnati. I mean, the Cubs are bad. I saw Jim Matheson said a stat yesterday, I believe, that if you go back to the game where they scored 21 runs against the Pirates, going into yesterday, I think like in their last 15 games or whatnot, they'd scored 22 runs since that Saturday where they scored 21 runs. So it's been feast or famine for the Chicago Cubs this year. Seiya Suzuki's really fallen back to earth.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. How the Cubs fans like to hype up their guys. Uh, I mean, he was hot. He won NL Rookie of the Month. But it's the big leagues. It's not out there. People are gonna figure him out, and I'm pretty sure he was held hitless in the 2-game series against the White Sox. So keep scouting him, and they're gonna figure him out, which they have.
Yeah, and last night they got a big win over the Padres. I mean, Kyle Hendricks absolutely shoved 8 2/3 of an inning. Couldn't
Mm-hmm.
quite get the last out, but that's a big win for them. And the Padres are, right up where I thought they would be this year. I think by far the AL West is obviously the best division in baseball. Every team is over 500, and it's tight. I mean, Arizona. People knock on Arizona, but their pitching staff is arguably one of the best in baseball. And
Mm-hmm.
I Zach Gallen, and obviously Madison Bumgarner, just, that 1-2 right there. I can't think up of the third guy. I'll pull it up here in a second.
They got Merrill Kelly.
Yeah, Merrill Kelly. Yep,
who's thrown tonight.
Drawing a blank on him. And I mean, if they have the offensive pieces, it could definitely be there, but unfortunately they don't. Turner says White Sox will not make the playoffs. I think that's absolutely preposterous. Just because
Yeah.
the White Sox, they've been dealt their fair share of injuries here early and truly haven't had a chance to shine a little bit. And I think that will definitely happen here, as we reach the summer months.
And the front office is to blame partially. Last night watching the game, you have Gavin Sheets, who is not an outfielder. He's grown first baseman. He goes out there, drops a ball in the first inning, Guardians score. It's like, okay, it's going to be one of those nights. Having outfielder or having first baseman play the outfield. Andrew Vaughn, their third pick in 2019, also an outfielder because we just don't have the space at first base. Who's also hurt right now, but should be coming back soon. And then, just not addressing the issue at second base and right field. We've rebuilded for years, and Josh Harrison is currently our starting second baseman. Don't get me wrong, has had, great years in the past, but that's not really who I'm expecting to see at second base for a team that has World Series aspirations.
Michael says AL Central best division in baseball. I don't know about that one, Michael.
You did. Hey, you have to tell these Turner and Michael are firmly on the side of the NL Central not being the worst division after I've repeatedly told them.
By far the NL Central is the worst division in baseball, and I'll be the first one to tell you that. I mean, by far, even a Cardinals fan, I will tell you that they're by far the worst division in baseball. I want to get to let's go actually to the Field of Dreams game. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Can we flex the Cubs and Reds out of this game?
Oh man, I sure hope. This is crazy.
If they at least made it like Cubs Cards or like Cubs White Sox, like I could accept that. Like the Cubs aren't good, but if you at least make it a rivalry game, it makes it a little bit more interesting, But no one wants to see the Cubs and the Reds play. I mean, the Reds are obviously tanking, and they should not be rewarded with this game.
Yeah, it's really bad. I'm not sure how they came to the agreement on that. I've heard ideas of the winner stays. So, the White Sox last year. I'm not sure if any Field of Dreams game will ever be able to top that first one. That one was absolutely insane. But I've heard winner stay. Making it, like a rivalry game, Cubs Reds, not really much of a rivalry, a division opponent, but we know where both those teams are. Maybe if we can get, Hendricks throwing, at least give us a little bit of excitement, or even like Hunter Green or Castillo possibly for the Reds. But even then, it's not a game that I'm going to absolutely make sure I see compared to last year. Even, as a White Sox fan, obviously I want to see it, but I feel like a lot of other baseball fans wanted to watch that game between the White Sox and the Yankees.
No, so Michael says this: NL East is the worst in my opinion. Take out the Brewers in the Central and the Mets in the East, and the divisions look the same. I can kind of get behind that. in my opinion, the Cardinals are majorly underachieving, and it's because they continue to handicap themselves because of what they do at the shortstop position. They refuse to go out and get pitching help. They've got a lot of internal battles that they refuse to address, in my opinion. And all that's done at the front office level. And if you go to stlouissports.com, I wrote an article last week about how Mike Schilt may have not truly been the issue. There is no denying that he did not see eye to eye with the front office. He did not see eye to eye with the Cardinals hitting coach, Jeff Albert, and it ultimately led to his firing. He spent 18 years with the Cardinals. But if you look at how mediocre this offense has been since Jeff Albert took over, again, it may not be Schilt that was truly the issue. And yeah, you put Marmol in his place, but how much is he truly changing this organization if he's continuing to follow what the front office and what the hitting coach wants? Michael said Braves off to a slow start, helping my debate at the moment. Yeah, they're coming off that World Series, so
a lot of World Series hangover.
Yeah, a lot of people have that.
The Mets are really good. I will give it to them. The Mets are really good. I think.
Yeah.
They're pitching top to bottom. You don't want to see them. Scherzer, Bassett. They got Tyler Megill right now, who's filling in very well in that third spot. Carrasco tonight, who's actually pitched very well as well. And then you get, obviously, Jacob deGrom back, if he comes back and is healthy. That is easily – I will take them against anyone. I will take them against the Dodgers 3-game series right there.
And the Phillies are majorly, not impressive. They are so underachieving this year for where I thought that offense would be. They do return, obviously, one of the worst defenses in all of baseball. Their pitching staff is super suspect after Nola and Zach Wheeler, and even those two can kind of be, off and on at times.
Yeah, they haven't been their best this year, which is definitely hurting them very bad.
And especially if that offense doesn't hit, that team needs to score 7 runs a game to win. It's just that's
and then
how
you see
it
what
is.
The bullpen does on top of the poor starting pitching. 7-1 lead, and there you go. It's going.
Right, exactly. So it can happen at any moment. And you look at the Phillies, and they're really behind the 8 ball this year here early. But hey, let's get into some pretenders and contenders. I'll give you a few teams, and I'll see where you rank them. We'll start off Milwaukee Brewers. Where do you have them as a contender or a pretender?
Right now, probably not. They are off to a good start, but I feel like the Brewers have done that consecutively. They get off to a good start, weak division. Between Freddie Peralta, Corbin Burns, Woodruff, they got a solid 3. They have a really good bullpen as well. But like you were saying earlier, the bats are very suspect. You have Christian Yelich, who has not really been, his MVP self. Willie Adames, who's actually hit the ball really well this year. Colton Wong, your guy Colton Wong, he's actually been off to a decent start as well. But after that, you're getting into Luis Urias, McCutcheon's out there, Lorenzo Cain, Rowdy Tellez, big strikeout, big home run hitter. But when you're playing the best of the best in the playoffs, or late in the season, they got to be able to maintain that. And I don't know if they will. And the pitching's got to hold, obviously. So right now I'll have them as not a contender.
I agree 100%. Not only for my hate of Milwaukee and their team, but also just because right now their team average of 231. Not great. But numbers are down across the league as a whole. And so it's not too surprising to see them, that far behind. But they're winning games when they need to, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. We'll stay in the NL Central, St. Louis Cardinals.
And I think they can definitely contend. They obviously have a track record of winning. Off to a slower start, of course, but the pitching has been a pleasant surprise, especially out of Miles Mikolas. He's pitched very well. Wainwright has pitched okay to start as well, and then with Arenado, Goldschmidt, Bader, that defense is not gonna. The defense is gonna keep you in games. I wish the White Sox had a Cardinals-like defense, but
Yeah, and I agree. It's any team that gives away tickets to games with a meal at Subway is a pretender. I'm not sure what team is.
I think that's the Brewers.
Is it?
Yeah.
But the Cardinals, I think a lot of it depends on how healthy they're going to be. Obviously, we have yet to see Jack Flaherty this year. We've yet to see Alex Reyes. Hopefully, we get to see that towards the end of this month, getting into June. And Miles Mikolas has been a pleasant surprise. He's really returned to his form that he had in his first 3 years here in St. Louis. I believe 2016 or 2017 may have been his first year, and then 18 was kind of his breakout year. And he's been very good this year besides his first start. Steven Matz, the jury is still out on him a little bit. He's pitched well against bad teams, pitched not good against good teams. So we'll see what we can get out of him. I didn't have high expectations coming in, so I'm not really too let down yet. Adam Wainwright, he's been all right. Unfortunately, when you're 40 years old, it takes a little bit for your arm to get warmed up. So we'll see where we see Waino at, as the summer months go along and as he kind of continues to build on his year. He's throwing the ball well. I think he's just getting hit around a little bit. Teams might be starting to figure him out a little bit. But they are contenders, I think, because of their lineup. And once they figure it out and put it all together, they might be able to put something together. But let's go Los Angeles Angels.
And right now, I think the Angels are one of the biggest surprises for me. I did just get to see them twice up in Chicago, which was a lot of fun. I went to the game Friday night, saw Ohtani hit a home run close to me. That was pretty cool. Taylor Ward, who has also been off to an exceptionally hot start. He's very, very important in that lineup, hitting leadoff, and then followed by Ohtani, Trout, and Rendon. Rendon, who's proven he can really play. He hasn't really gotten the bat there, power from a power perspective, but if he gets it going, you add in a bunch of role players, and they're definitely a dangerous lineup. They're very dangerous. They still kind of scare me a little bit pitching wise, but I know they boosted up their bullpen a little bit, and the starting pitching so far has been serviceable, regardless of who they're throwing out there. They've been able to get the job done for the most part.
I agree. I think Ward makes a big difference in the lineup, but obviously a healthy Mike Trout makes all the difference in the world, for this team. And, he's leading the team in home runs, hits. Just home runs and batting average. Ohtani leads the team in hits. But they're finding, they're finding ways to win. They've got guys that are role players. Brandon Marsh has been surprisingly very good this year. He's batting .364, which technically actually leads the team, but no, that's Marsh or Ward, batting .364. Marsh is still batting .256, which, in my book, if you're batting over .250, you're having an all right season. So they've got guys that are kind of being a little bit of a surprise. Joe Adele, they sent him down after he had a little bit of a rough, start to the year, but he's only batting .231. So, it's right there to where he can turn it around. But hopefully, if he goes to AAA, he can get things figured out. But I would say right now contenders, but I'd like to see how they continue it on throughout the year and see if they can, turn it out into something that's 162. We'll go with the San Diego Padres.
To me right now, I think being in that division is super tough against the Dodgers. And not having Tatis for the foreseeable future also, puts a dent in that lineup. Manny Machado has been playing very well, really putting the team on his back. But from a pitching standpoint, they also have one of the best rotations in the league too when healthy, and they have the opportunity to be very dangerous come postseason time. I still don't think they're going to win the division, but I think they will win a lot of games, and especially with the Giants, not being as off to a hot start as what they were last year. I think they can definitely get a wild card spot, and with that pitching rotation, I think anything can happen in the playoffs.
That's weird. ESPN is severely messed up because I'm on the Padres pitching roster and it's showing all the pitchers for the Angels. But to begin with, I mean, the Padres, they have like 6 or 7 different options right now to go with at the starting pitching. Obviously, you got Joe Musgrove, you've got Blake Snell, you've got Darvish. Those 3 aren't going anywhere. Chris Paddock, if he's able to get something together, he's going to be good. They've got Mackenzie Gore, who pitched last night.
He's an exciting rookie, and then you add in Sean Manaea there too. It's
right. And say Sean Manaea is not good. They've got like 6 or 7 different guys that they can just throw out there that could easily be an ace or a top 2-3 pitcher in any rotation. So that's a good problem to have. And I do think once they get Tatis back, that team is really going to hit an extra gear. And so I'll put them as contenders. I would not be surprised to see them make a little bit of a postseason run.
Absolutely.
Well, AB, I appreciate you joining me tonight. It was fun talking baseball. You got any final words before we go?
No, I just really thanks for having me. It was definitely a lot of fun. I still think White Sox they're gonna find their stride once we get everybody back. They're gonna be come postseason time if between Dylan Cease, Giolito, Lance Lynn, Kopech. They're gonna be a tough out, and we don't have to play. Hopefully, we don't have to play the Astros again. Man, that was not fun. They just baseball you to death. They don't strike out. They make contact. They make the routine plays. If you make a mistake, they're gonna capitalize. So hopefully we don't have to run into them again, and hope for a longer postseason run.
Well, if your favorite team is struggling, it's a good thing that's only May. We're only 30 games in the season. We have about 130 more. So, it'll all be okay. Hopefully things will get it figured out. But that'll do it for us here tonight on Between the Lines. For Andrew Buis, this is Colten Kahler signing off, and we'll see you next week.
Perfect.